Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So, have you ever wondered when engineers say, let's cache this in Redis or store sessions in Redis or maybe use Redis for late limiting? So, this is the technology they are referring to, and many developers think Redis is just a cache. No, that's completely wrong. Redis does much more than caching. So today in this video, you'll understand why Redis exists, how it works internally, why it is so fast, its real world use case, and how we can scale Redis. So let's first understand what is the problem without Redis. For example, an e-commerce platform. Millions of users repeatedly request same product details, same user profile, and sometimes same homepage content where they see uh, live sales and product in the sales. Okay, so every single request hit database. So what happens in this case? Database gets overloaded. Why? Because database is repeatedly solving the same problem. Many users asking for iPhone product detail. Okay, and that product doesn't change every second, but still database gets hit every time. So this creates slow response, high DB load, expensive scaling. So this is where Redis enters into the picture. Now, why traditional DB is so slow? Traditional DB like MySQL or PostgreSQL, they store data on a disk. And we know that disk access is always slower. Even our SSDs that we use in our laptops are slower compared to RAM. So, if frequently accessed data can be kept in memory instead of disk, so your system will automatically become faster. So that idea created Redis. So before Redis, the user was hitting the application and application was hitting the database. But now a new layer is added between the app and the database, that is Redis. So application first check if data exists in Redis, it return data from Redis immediately. If data doesn't exist, then it go to database and it prevents unnecessary database work. So now there are two types of hit. First is cache hit and then cache miss. So what is cache hit? When the data is present in Redis, right? So in that case, what will happen? User will request a product, for example, in an e-commerce platform. Application checks in Redis, the data is already present there and it will return from Redis directly. So that is cache hit, because in that case directly cache is hitting, no database is hitting in that case. So this is extremely fast. So high cache hit ratio means faster system. Now the cache miss. Now suppose Redis doesn't have the data. So in that case what will happen? It will miss the cache. It will now cache will have to request the database. Okay, and from the database it will return the data. So it will be a cache miss request. Now important question, what if data changes? For example, if I'm sending same request, I'm getting it from Redis, but in the meantime someone from backend changes the data in the database, but I'm still getting the old data from Redis. What will happen in that case? So that is dangerous. So in that case we use TTL or expiration. So TTL is time to live. For example, we can store data in Redis for 10 minutes. We have set the TTL for 10 minutes only. That's store data in Redis for 10 minutes and then again pull it from database or vanish it. Okay, so this prevents old data from staying forever. But there are some trade-offs for this. When we set very small TTL, then in that case more DB call will happen. That is for sure. But when we set very large TTL period, so in that case we can get the old data or stale data. Okay, so that these are the trade-offs that we can face. So we'll have to adjust TTL very carefully. So why Redis becomes very powerful? So it is powerful due to its data structure, because Redis supports multiple data structure internally. For example, it supports string with simple values, example OTP codes and all. It supports list for ordered items when any user wants to search for any recent searches, and it supports sets also for unique values, for example, to identify the unique visitors. Okay, and it supports hashes also for user profile data, sorted sets also. Okay, where it is used in gaming leaderboards, so where there will have to sort the user on the basis of their scores. So for gaming leaderboards, it is very much used. So Redis automatically maintain those rankings in the gaming platform. So gaming platform loves Redis for that. So let's understand the use cases of Redis. So the first one is caching that you already know. The other one is session management. So when user logs into the website, we need to store its session ID, token, and its authentication state. So for example, if server crashes, if users session related details we have stored in the server memory. So in that case, that data will be lost and user gets logged out. So that is bad experience. So for that, what we do, we store session data into the Redis, because Redis is fast and it is shared across multiple servers, and it is also perfect for distributed system. Another good use case of Redis is rate limiting. So remember API gateway video that we discussed in our this series. So suppose user can call an API only 100 times per minute. System needs to quick track of how many requests user made. So in that case, database would be too slow to serve this, but Redis can instantly maintain counters. Another use case is leaderboards that I've already told you. In gaming leaderboards, they need ranking. For example, player A has 500 points, player B 900, and C 700 points. And the ranking should update instantly. So Redis sorted set solves this beautifully. So it automatically maintains those ranking orders. So that's why gaming companies prefer Redis. And the last one is queue system. Suppose user uploads an image and image processing is taking some time. Instead of blocking user, system what it does is it puts tasks into Redis queue. Yeah, Redis queue is there. So background worker process it later. So flow will be user will upload the image and it will add it to the Redis queue, and Redis queue will transfer it to the worker. Okay, so this improves user experience. They will not stuck on that. Their image will be uploaded once it is added to the Redis queue. But yeah, if you are thinking of a large system, so Apache Kafka is a better choice in that case. Yeah, so there are different use cases for different things. It depends on us what we want to go with. Now, Redis persistence. As we know, Redis store all the data in memory. Okay, and if server crashes, everything is gone, right? Because everything is in the memory, it is gone once the server crashes. But Redis offer persistence. So your data is safe with Redis. By using RDB snapshot, it save full backup periodically. Okay, and then you can do the faster recovery. Now, Redis scaling. You can scale Redis as well. So now if you have a lot of traffic coming to your application, so Redis servers can become bottleneck or single point of failure, because uh, every system has a limited RAM. Okay. So in that case, what we can do is we can do the replication. We can create one master and multiple replicas of it. We can do sharding, like splitting data across servers, and we can create Redis cluster also. So that depends on us. So there are some challenges as well with Redis, like memory expensive, because RAM cost more than disk, that we know. So that is one thing. Second thing is cache invalidation, because stale data is always an issue with the Redis. So that is a challenge, but that can be solved. And data loss risk, because without persistent, every technology has trade-off. So that is all about Redis. I hope you get something out of this video. Now I'll see you in the next video with a new topic. Thanks for watching.